Hey everyone, welcome back. Or if you're new here, I'm so glad you're here. I'm finally sharing the full story of how I got into embroidery, how I discovered digitizing, and how that turned into an Etsy shop and this YouTube channel. This is for anyone who's thinking about starting embroidery, digitizing, or just wants to hear how someone got started from scratch with no design background and no fancy equipment. So, let's get right into it. Like so many of us, I got introduced to embroidery during the pandemic. I was scrolling TikTok one day and saw someone stitching their own designs onto sweaters, and I immediately was hooked. I ran over to Pinterest and I started searching up what I was seeing on the sweater. So I think it was just like a simple fruit design, but I wanted to see, like, did they buy this sweater online somewhere? And then I immediately started seeing that all of these sweaters had the same caption, which was embroidered sweater. So that's when I started realizing, like, okay, this is a completely different thing I've never heard of. So, I mean, honestly, it just looked so satisfying and really personal. You can create anything you'd like. And I feel like I'm a pretty creative person, so it definitely piqued my interest. I literally had no idea where to start, but I hopped on over to YouTube and I essentially just fell down a rabbit hole. I watched so many videos about different embroidery machines and what they could do and what software they use, and all the different options were just so overwhelming. But I subscribed to as many channels as I could just so I could get as many different versions of people's opinions, essentially. I started dreaming about all the things I could make if I had a machine. So when Black Friday came around, I found a deal on Amazon and bought my first ever embroidery machine. Oh, I miss her so much. It was the PE 550D. I actually sold that machine about a year ago and I ended up upgrading to the PE 900. The Brother brand of embroidery machines are honestly amazing. I really can't recommend it enough. So once the machine delivered, I literally just jumped right in. I bought different files off of Etsy and I bought, a flash drive, of course, and I immediately started embroidering any file that I thought was cute that I could find on Etsy. I started a little embroidery business where I sold sweaters with custom embroidered designs, or just designs that I thought were really silly or cute or simple, and I actually ended up calling it Thread Tay. I would often do photo shoots with my friends on my college campus, and sometimes the customers would even send me a picture of them wearing the sweaters that they purchased, and honestly, that just made me so happy to see. I feel like I've grown so much in the sense of marketing and how to implement that effectively, and also what types of designs actually sell. Here's a little tip. If you're starting with products, I always recommend photographing your work in natural light and showing it on real people. It helps buyers picture it on themselves. Over time, I started to feel limited. I had all these cool ideas in my head, but when I looked online for designs, they just didn't exist. I either couldn't find the right file, or the style was off, or the font looked a little funky. That's when I first started thinking about digitizing, about what it would mean to make my own embroidery file. I'll be honest, I was a little scared at first. It felt so complicated. But I started learning from YouTube videos, and eventually I found Hatch Academy, which also taught me a lot. Here's the thing. Digitizing software is expensive. Hatch embroidery digitizing software costs around $1,000, but they offer a 30-day free trial for each laptop. So what did I do? I got creative. I downloaded the free trial on my own laptop, then my roommates, then my parents' laptop, anyone who would let me. I just needed time to practice before I committed to the big purchase. Here's another tip. If you're testing software, save all your work on a flash drive and label it, because you're definitely going to want to be able to reference those early designs later on. Over time, I built up my library to over 50 embroidery files that I made all by myself. At first, I just used them for the sweaters in my shop that I was selling, but one day, it hit me. What if I sold these files themselves? So I uploaded a few designs to Etsy and I crossed my fingers. For months, nothing happened. I honestly forgot I even uploaded them. But out of nowhere, I started receiving so many messages with people asking me questions about the files and purchasing the files. And honestly, that was the moment I realized that there was a real demand for embroidery files. From there, everything completely shifted. I started focusing all my energy on digitizing and building my Etsy file shop. Unfortunately, I had to say goodbye to my sweater business, and I fully leaned into the aspect of creating designs and digitizing designs. And that's where I found the most fulfillment in this whole process. I'm still using my machine, of course, but mostly to test files and make sure that there's no gaps in them, because I want to make sure that the files I'm using are actually of high quality. Here's another tip. Always stitch out your file before listing it. You'll be able to catch little issues that normally you wouldn't be able to see inside of the software. Now, I'm focused on my Etsy file shop and growing this YouTube channel. I do post quick tips on TikTok, but I really believe digitizing and embroidery needs longer content. I can't explain how to digitize a design in 15 seconds. I want this channel to be a space where people can actually learn, ask questions, and feel supported through this process, because it can be really overwhelming, but you can learn it because I did. Thanks for sticking with me through my story. I really hope it inspired you to start your embroidery journey and really just take that leap into digitizing. If you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments. I'm planning a Q&A soon, and I'd love to feature your question. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this with anyone who's just starting out. I'm cheering you on, and I'm so glad you're here. Okay, testing, 1, 2. I didn't grow up sewing or crafting, so embroidery felt like this brand new world I had no idea that I needed. Here we go. I think what drew me in was how calming it looked. We were all so anxious and stuck inside. Watching thread slowly turn into art, it was like therapy through my screen. I remember texting my friends like, should I buy an embroidery machine or is this my quarantine brain talking? They all said go for it, and I'm so glad that I did. People loved that these weren't mass produced and they actually meant something. And yes, I definitely ruined a few sweaters along the way. I handpicked every color and every thread. I literally had no idea what stabilizer even was or what it meant. I just learned as I went. The college photo shoots were such a vibe. Oh my god, no. Honestly, that era taught me how powerful handmade products can be. When I was searching for files, I'd find things that were almost what I wanted, but not quite. I started realizing I don't want to keep relying on other people's files forever. I wanted more control, more creativity. Digitizing felt like Photoshop meets sewing meets math. I was like, what did I just sign up for? The Hatch trial hack saved me. I was so broke at the time and I wasn't gonna drop $1,000 without knowing what I was doing. To anyone scared of digitizing software, yes, it's confusing at first, but if you can learn one tool at a time, it will click. And once it clicks, it's like magic. I remember Googling how to sell embroidery files on Etsy and getting so overwhelmed immediately. Listings, mockups, SEO, I just didn't understand any of it. My early listings were honestly so bad. Terrible lighting, vague descriptions, and still someone bought one, so that brought me a lot of confidence. What I've learned is you don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to start. You can tweak and improve as you go. Practice makes progress. I could create a file one time and sell it hundreds of times without lifting a finger. Selling physical products is fulfilling, but it's also really time consuming and can get kind of expensive, and the inventory and the shipping and the returns, it really adds up. With digital files, I felt so much more freedom. I realized I want to be a person behind the design, not just the one stitching it out. I wanted to empower other makers.